Hey everyone, it's Colin from ITB. Today I'll be taking around Sony's latest flagship, the Xperia XZ3. Some interesting and very welcomed design changes to this particular device. So stay tuned to see how we get on with it. Okay, welcome back. So let's have a look at the retail package first of all. So this is what you'll expect basically when you buy this device. So typical Sony branded boxes, a lot of them are silver like this. Nothing overly special about it. So looking on the back, you can see the information about what's coming on the device. A little bit of dirt there. So 19 megapixel camera, some software changes in that over the previous XZ2. 13 megapixel front facing camera. You've got a 6-inch QHD plus an HDR display, and I'll come back to display in a moment. USB-C charging. You've also got wireless charging in there as well, and fast charging built in. 30 milliamp battery. Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 and 4 gigabytes of RAM with 64 gig storage. And interestingly, this phone also comes in a 6 gigabyte version in other regions, which is kind of annoying because, you know, like, just put the same amount of RAM no matter where you are. Sony and any other manufacturer, they all do that. And you've got an IP65 and 68 rating for dust and water. So it's, you know, if you get it wet or dusty, it's not gonna kill it. So let's have a look at the inside. And this is the phone. Of course, being a media outlet, this device has been around various different companies, so I have pieced it back together in terms of packaging as to what you would get, obviously minus all this bubble. And top tip, if you're ever buying a phone and it's got bubbles like this, that means it's been used before. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Inside we've got the charging brick, which is just a pretty normal power output on that, 5V 1500 milliamp. So definitely you could upgrade that to a much stronger power brick and actually charge the phone much quicker. You do get a headphone jack to USB-C dongle, which you will need because there's no headphone jack, because somebody had the smart idea to remove them all across the board on the phones. Some booklets and information and that, nothing to worry about. And then you get your USB-C cable. So let's just put that back together, and then we'll take you around the phone. So this is the 6-inch XZ3. We'll just take off the plastic and the front one. So within seconds this is going to become muddled with fingerprints because it is a fingerprint magnet. So you can see now you've got your 6-inch display, and the design features I was saying that have changed that are very welcomed are the fact that this is now a curved OLED display, and you can see, like, across two on the camera there, but you can see the curve goes beautifully around, and it's a very, very nice looking device. So let's have a look at the top. So you've got your tray here for SIM cards and micro SD. On the back you've got your flashes, you've got your camera and your fingerprint scanner, and you can see there, if I do that, you've already got lots of fingerprints. But look, you're not going to have basically a €700 phone and not put a cover on it, so if you buy one of these, please put a cover on it. You've got on this side the volume rockers, you've got the power key and a dedicated camera key, which is pretty much a staple now of Sony. They put it on all their premium devices, and it's very welcomed, and everyone should do that. if anyone else is listening. USB on the bottom, obviously some microphones and stuff like that, antennas. And then on the left hand side you have nothing, but what Sony have built into this, and I'll show you in the software overview now shortly, is you got kind of touch sensitive sides that control various operations. I'm not a huge fan of them, but you know, your mileage will vary. So overall, really nice device. Very pillow-like used to be the terminology that we used to call Nokia Lumia phones that looked like this kind of lovely curve, and that is exactly what it is like. So we'll have a look at the software next and take you through that and some of the features on that as well. Okay, so onto the software. Let's flip it over. And here you can see you've got the always on display. If you want it to be on, you can get information on it like this because it is OLED, so you will be able to see time and notifications coming in. When it is absolutely off, you can double tap to get your information on. Obviously you can unlock it with face unlock or your PIN, but most people will just opt for the fingerprint sensor, which I will touch in 3, 2, 1, and it failed. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. So, you know, reasonably quick. It's on par with my Pixel 2 XL, so it's not overly slow. One thing that I would say that I don't like about it is most people hold their phone here, where the bottom corner of your phone will be in this part of your palm, which means your finger is up here, and that's where the camera is, and that's where most people will touch for their the fingerprint sensor. Whereas other manufacturers would have their camera sensor up here, and then the flash and sensor, you know, the flash and other hardware next to the camera. So you actually have to bend your finger down here, which means you're only getting the top of your finger on the sensor if you have particularly large hands. I don't have particularly large hands, but it's more the top of my finger on the sensor, or you have to hold the phone a little bit up like this, which means it's susceptible to falling out of your hand. To ideally, you can see how I'm struggling to get that. So the fingerprint sensor is not optimal in terms of position. So this is Sony's take on Android 9. It's overall pretty clean. You can swipe right and have your apps like that. You get left to keep up with your other news sources and information. If you hit your center key, you've got in here, overall there's no real bloat. It's a pretty clean version of Android. They haven't gone too wild. They've obviously included some of their own apps like Movie Creator, Sketch, 3D Creator, and Sony Lounge. But overall it's clean and it's quick. If we pull down from the top, you can see it's basically Android 9, roughly stock, but obviously not quite. When you go into the settings, you have a slightly different look, and you can change anything and everything you could change on any other Android phone. So, you know, I'm not going to bore you with that, but the version of the phone out of the box is, where are we? Android version, obviously 9. There is an update due that's just come in this morning, in fact, for this. So, you know, you will have a day one update, let's say, more than likely when you buy one of these phones. And you can go in here, you can change anything you want from, you know, the color appearance, how saturated it is, the display. You can have your adaptive brightness on, so it'll come on and off. Again, like most phones these days, they're going to have that. The brightness level. The phone does get bright, and it is very readable outside in sunlight. It's not the brightest I've seen, but it's by no means, you know, dark. So no problems at all there. The software is quick. I have no problems running any apps or opening anything. It's all been very smooth. The camera now, let's have a look at. So in here, and again, it is very easy to cover that sensor. This is our little cameraman, and you can see if I take a picture, let's move him up a little bit. Takes it a fraction of a second to take a picture, so it's very quick overall. There's a little bit of noise when you do zoom in, but overall I don't think anyone will be disappointed. I do find its software processing, let's say, is not quite up there with you know, Google software for clarity, but overall it's pretty good. So the menus here have changed a little bit on this phone as well. So if we hit the mode button, you've now got your various options here like this to go into things. You know, you can do AR effect, and you can let's see if we can this phone was reset, so let's see. So there's your AR effect, and yes, so let's see, go through this. Let's see now if we get stuff. It's just mapping a grid, and there's little guys walking around, and you can drag them here, there, and everywhere, and you can have dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's Sony's AR thing that they have on basically all their devices these days that are worth their salt. So, camera has phase detection, laser detection, no OIS, or no OIS, but it has got electronic stability. You can record in 4K. It's got super slow motion, but if you're doing super slow motion, it's at 1080. Only, not 4K, and your steady shot, as Sony calls it, for their extra stable video, again is not in 4K, just at 1080. But you know, for most people, they just want to take pictures and they just want to take some video at family events. Anyone who's a really serious photographer obviously will, you know, probably be using a big camera, but this is more than enough for anyone. It's up there with iPhone and Google Pixels, and any other top flagship camera, somewhere around probably 4th position, let's say, after some of the other big boys. So that's the software side of things. Gaming wise, there hasn't been a problem playing any games. And I will take you through a look at that now. Okay, so let's have a quick look at a game here. So this is just prize fighters, you know, not a heavy GPU or CPU processing sort of game, you know. So let's just have a little look. Just turn that down a little bit. So didn't say I was very good at it though, did I? Take that. So there you can go. You can see, you know, no problems playing games. You know, people aren't going to play any massively intensive games on their mobiles these days. Even the likes of PUBG or Fortnite. You know, if you can even get Fortnite onto your device in the first place, because of the way they do it these days. So there you can see kind of gaming, no problem at all in terms of that. Okay, so one thing I alluded to earlier with the software changes, and possible mainly because of the curved OLED screen, is the new kind of shortcuts that you can do by tapping the side of the screen. You can kind of bring in these little quick launch icons. You can change it from one-handed mode, or otherwise you can change your settings. You can do various things. So you've got that kind of thing. You can even use it as a back arrow to go back down. If you're in an app, just kind of swipe down. On the right hand side, you've got the same kind of thing. So there you go, exactly the same thing basically. And you can customize it and do stuff like that. It's a nice addition. I'm never a big fan of those sort of things. I turn off the squeeze gesture, for example, on my Pixel. I don't like it. So that's an interesting one. So I'm very impressed with Sony phones. I always have been. I've had many Sony Xperia top-end premium devices over the years, and they've all performed really well. This one too. Big key things for me as a mobile phone user are speed of how quickly things open, camera, and battery. That's really my three things that I want to have in a smartphone. Battery on this one, it's only 3,330, I believe. Is that what I said? 3,330 exactly. So a little bit small. This is not a small device. It's not massively thin, so they probably could have fit a slightly bigger battery in there. I would have liked to have seen at least 3,600 or something like that. But really, smartphone makers these days need to stop kind of worrying necessarily too much about design and try and fit in as big a battery as you can. And the Chinese makers have really copped onto that and have understood that, and there's now massive batteries coming out in phones as thick as this, so it can absolutely be done. So that's one aspect. It's not a negative against this phone, it's just a personal preference. So this was the Sony Xperia XZ3. If you liked this review or didn't like this review, don't forget to hit the thumbs up down below there, and hit the notification bell and subscribe button to be notified when we post new videos, and stay tuned for the next one.